Okay, we're going to make a fairy live moss tree, and we're going to be working with polymer clay, and it's the brand I'm using is Sculpt, and it's the first thing that we have to do is knead it, and by just doing what you see me doing here, and that will get it good and soft. And we definitely want to knead it really well, because it will crack on you if you don't. It'll crack before, during, or after it being cooked in the oven. And so once you've got it kneaded and you've got it to about this length here, probably actually the best thing to do is start off with a ball, because you want it to be the same thickness going all the way up. So you can squeeze it like this. I've noticed that my hand, when I squeeze like this, gives a similar imprint on the tree, or on the clay, as a tree would have. So just keep that in mind. It gives it kind of that texture. So I'm just going to roll the ball here, and then squeeze it. And you can make this any size you want. I mean, I'm making it this size because it's the size I like. There we go. I'm going to make it a little longer, and I'm just squeezing it. So I'm squeezing it as instead of rolling it like this to make it the length and all that, it's I'm squeezing it so I'll get that texture. I want that texture. Now I want to tell you a few things about it. The moss itself. The moss, there's different kinds. This moss I got out of my front yard. It is hardy, and it is resistant to drought resistant, but it needs, when it's on the tree, it's going to need a lot of care as far as water goes. So keep that in mind. Probably twice a day, or 3 times a day, you're going to want to water it. And this piece of moss here was on another tree, and I just took it off to show you, and then we'll use it for this tree when we're all done. And I have tried different things like hollowing out the top of the tree and putting a sponge in, but I haven't had any luck to have to water the tree any less. So let's keep that in mind. Now we have to have 4 small branches coming off the top, and 4 small roots coming off the bottom for the tree to stand on its own. And the branches that we'll make, they're very small, they're not very big, but they're big enough to hold the moss a little bit. And then we'll put a wire in at the top, or to hold the moss. And if you want to use the tree in a garden type situation, it will stand a lot better if you put a pin in the bottom, and I'll show you how to do that. And this is all this pin is made out of. It's just basically a metal coat hanger. So I'm going to show you about that in a few minutes. So the first thing we have to do is we have to make the branches that come off the top of the tree, and they do have function. They do hold some of the moss, and so that's basically how we want that to look there. Okay, and just squeezing and pulling makes that happen. And then on the bottom we also want if it's going to be freestanding, or either way, for aesthetics, the way it looks, we're going to want the roots coming out like this at the bottom. And 4 really, because it will stand better if it's 4. And it will stand now. It will stand now, but it's just a little floppy. And just smooth everything out. Okay, so it'll stand up. And then I recommend putting a bend in the tree, because trees are naturally not straight, but you can do whatever you want as far as that goes, if you want to bend it or not. Okay. And then, let's see, for the length of coat hanger, I use the wire cutters, and you only need about this much for either end, for the top of the tree or the bottom of the tree. And so, instead of cutting it, unless your snips are really sharp and your hand is really strong, the best way to cut it is to go like this, to bend it to cut. And it only takes a couple of those before it actually breaks. And we have one there, and we have one here. There we go. So one pin will go, I think actually I want the bottom, the top to be the bottom. I think it looked better. It looks better. Yeah, it looks better to me. And I'm going to have it bending slightly. And I'm going to have it bend to the same direction as one of the legs or one of the roots, because it's less likely to fall over. And I just stick the pin in the top, and I have it stick out about 1/4 inch. Okay. Now again, if you're gonna be going into a pot, potted plant, or something like that, you probably want to stick it in and stick it out further, about 1/2 inch. And that way it can stick into the soil and stand okay. If not, if you're not going to use it that way, then you can pull the pin out and leave it out. Now there's another thing that you can do for decoration purposes. You can, you must have seen an old tree with a knot in it. You can carve yourself a knot in the tree. Like that. And the other thing you can do is to add a little bit more texture. You can take the knife of the tool and draw little lines in it too, to add more to the bark look, the look of the bark. Okay, the tree has been cooked and just came out of the oven and is very warm right now, very hot in fact. So I can't do much with that, but I wanted to move it out of the way here with my tough-skinned sculptor hands. And I want to talk about finishes for a little bit. This is an owl that I did last week. His name is Blinky, and he's a baby owl that's looking up. And this finish right here is my bone finish, and it's actually done with coffee. It's done with coffee stain, which does work on the polymer clay like the tree that we just made. But if we're going to spray it with water, it will wash off. So, and this particular casting here is plaster of Paris, so it won't wash off that, and it's no need for it to get wet because it's an indoor sculpture. But that's really not an option for us. This finish here is very pretty. It's a violet purple finish that's applied first with black paint, second with wax, and this product here, which is called Pearl X Pigments, and this is reflex violet, and it's applied with wax and a brush, and then it's highlighted with bronze, and this is the bronze, which also comes in gold powder and that sort of thing, and it's highlighted just to accent the purple. And that is an option for the tree. And another option is this bronze, which is one of my favorites. It's a black patina, a black paint, and then highlighted with bronze or gold. That's probably the finish I'm going to choose for the tree today, only because it looks like a tree in a way to me. I mean, I think a tree kind of looks golden and that sort of thing, and so I want to use that finish today. And that's what you're going to see how I do. We work with this is any flat exterior black paint is fine to use. This is Rust-Oleum, and so we're going to use that. Get that open. I use it all the time, so the cover's not even on tight because I'm constantly finishing my sculptures. And by the way, the thing with the owls, the reason why I used those for samples today was because I have all three finishes, these three most popular finishes on my newest owl, so that's why. And then we're going to also use Johnson's paste wax, and then bronze, in this case bronze powder. But again, if you have, the only way to buy this, from what I understand, I was telling some people about it, and they tried to buy it, and it was very expensive. It was like $80 for a container, and I don't, you may or may not want to do that. But you can go into an art supply store and usually find powders like this, maybe not the same color bronze, for $5. So if you want the source for this bronze, you can look for my video how to do an aged bronze finish, and that video tells how to do it and tells all the recipe and everything and where to get everything. So just go look at that video. And remember, Pearl X, again, most art stores and craft stores sell this, and it's not that expensive. This is probably under $7, but I'm not really certain. The thing is to remember is it goes very far. It goes a long ways. So now we're going to paint the tree using the black paint, and it's still warm, but it's not as hot as it was. I just get a good cover on it, and always, if you can, put 2 coats on things that you paint. And you probably noticed I have black paint all over my hands, and this is why. Because I'm constantly painting and I don't get it all off when I wash my hands, and well, there you have it. We'll get it. Okay, so we'll let that dry and come back, and then we'll do the bronze finish. Okay, so the paint is dry, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger and swirl it into the paste wax, and then I'm going to dip it into the bronze and swirl it with my thumb, just to sort of get it smoother, and then I just highlight the tree. And you can see how that looks. I personally like the finish. You might want to hand paint your tree. The thing to do is remember to read the instructions on the Sculpt box, because it does break down with certain finishes. Certain things will make it get sticky and get weird, and that happened to me. I spray painted a piece at one point, and that's exactly what happened. It got all sticky and icky. So just be sure. I mean, I'm using latex paint here, and that won't hurt it. So that's how that's done. I wanted to, and then before I put the moss on there, I want to show you this this plate that I did with one of these trees. And all I did basically was I took a small pot, I filled it with soil, I covered it with moss, I put in some stones. This is a stone here. I made the tree and put the moss on the tree, and I sculpted this little guy here. It's a I guess it's called the pagoda. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's called a pagoda. And I made it out of polymer clay and did a green patina finish on it. So I like this piece a lot. It just really makes me feel good when I look at it. I keep it on my coffee table. So you should wipe the bronze off your fingers, by the way. And I actually keep a towel on my chair for just such things. And here's our moss. So I'm just going to put it on top, poke it onto have the pin poke into it, and you can see how that looks. There we go. And I just think it's a beautiful thing. I put this on Etsy, which is a worldwide marketplace for artists. I put it on Etsy, and it got a lot of favorites. I mean, I have to say. So maybe you could sell some to make some extra money or something like that. But it's really a fun project, nevertheless. And so that's about it. I appreciate you watching, and please subscribe to my channel. I have way over 250 videos, all kinds of interesting things. And visit my website at jacobfolger.com. And thanks again. Have a great day.